Hey, what's up, guys? Hope everybody's doing well and having a great day. Welcome back to another live stream. Have a lot of material to share with you guys in this live stream. Some of this stuff you will only see here on this channel, so make sure you subscribe to the channel. Almost every day I'm offering a unique perspective of the Earth. We receive photos and videos from all around the world, and I have some fascinating photos to share with you guys today. More blue rain to talk about. Never seen anything like it. This year we've seen, I think now, 5 different examples of blue rain falling from the sky, blue and red. Welcome everybody, Johnny, Rick, Angel, Austin, Vertex. What's going on, guys? If you guys have any questions, send it via Super Chat. The Super Chats, I can just see them better because there's a lot going on. Hey, AZ Watchwoman, good afternoon, Graham. In this video, we're going to talk about the heat anomaly up here in the northeastern United States. Are you serious? What next? There's a heat anomaly way over in the western Pacific that we're completely aware of. This is something fairly new. We're going to talk more about that here in just a moment. It might explain the earthquake activity up here in New Jersey. We were talking about the earthquake swarm a little over a week ago. It's not on the map now. That's why we see one earthquake up here in northern New Jersey. Actually closer to New York. This was in yesterday. Hasbrook Heights? Are you serious right now? That is in northern New Jersey. Yes, that was a 3.0 coming in at 6.2 miles deep. What? Again, this area right here isn't necessarily known for its earthquake activity, but we were following a swarm about 20 miles from there less than 10 days ago. Now another earthquake. There's been an earthquake up here in New Brunswick. There's now a heat anomaly that's been discovered under the northeastern United States, and this map kind of shows where the heat anomaly's at. Apparently, it could be responsible for the earthquake activity in the New Jersey, New Brunswick, the New England area in general. We're going to talk more about that later in this video. I've got a flash update to share with you guys, crazy skies, triangles, an update up at the Grand Canyon, and a new wildfire that's over in California already consumed 65,000 acres. Atlas update, I haven't called it comet because simply, I don't think it's a comet. I'm going to share with you guys, in case you missed yesterday's, some modifications that I've made to all I did was adjust the lighting and color and things like that. I don't modify it per se. I do just reach into the tool bag and adjust the lighting and sharpen it up. Maybe sometimes increase the resolution to 4K, like you're going to see in one of today's videos. I was able to increase it to 4K. Maybe we'll get to that one tomorrow, but sometimes that is a possibility. Looking at the Grand Canyon, there's been a wildfire up here. Talk about hot spots. You can see the wildfire smoke from this webcam at Kolb Studio, spanning for miles and miles. I don't think I've ever seen this before, at least not this intense. That is a lot of wildfire smoke going on up there in the Grand Canyon area. Let's see if I have, yeah, right here's what's going on out here in the western United States. You can see the large wildfire right up here at the center of the Grand Canyon, spanning, how far is that? Does it say? All I know is it's covered over 116,000 acres, 1,202 personnel trying to keep this contained, and right now they're at 12% containment. But there's been a brand new wildfire occur over here in Southern California. The wildfire up in northern Arizona is called the Dragon Bravo fire. I don't know who names these. It's definitely not me. The Gifford wildfire. This is a new one over in Southern California, and I found it on Zoom Earth. You can see the large smoke plume, not only from northern Arizona, but from Southern California as well. This is near the Santa Maria area. There have been mandatory evacuations already occurred right here in this area here between Santa Maria and I believe Derby Acres. Again, covering 65,000 acres already, and Santa Barbara, San Luis Obispo, those are the two counties, the two main counties in this area right here. Arroyo Grande, Santa Maria, the wildfire. The wind, from what I saw, is pushing to the looks like the west-southwest, but that's never a good place for wildfire activity, not at all. Here's a quick update on the UV. I know you guys like the UV, so we took a UV reading today out here in Arizona, and I've got a UV reading from southern British Columbia, Abbotsford, Darren, 8-1. He received a reading of 10.69. That was his high reading, and that's considered very high. Right at 12 noon on the 1st. The reading I took today out here in Arizona, and this was the sky up in British Columbia, Abbotsford on that day. This next reading's from Phoenix. This is today. I took this at high noon right out here in the desert. You can see my high reading was 11.31. The UVC was showing trace amounts. We shouldn't be seeing any at ground level. Could be the instrument. We're just going to assume that it's picking up some sort of rogue energy, but nevertheless, that was considered an extreme UV reading out here in Arizona, and that's not necessarily uncommon for this part of the world. That's, in fact, right in the acceptable parameters for UV in the desert. So, but the very fact that it was almost the same as it was up in British Columbia is a bit of an anomaly. The UV shouldn't be that high up in British Columbia. That's the UVAB that does come through the atmosphere, that does get through the ozone, and it's around us every time we're outside. That's measurable ground ultraviolet radiation. The UVC should not be measurable on ground, not even trace amounts. The instrument is calibrated, and we'll just leave it at that. We're just gonna monitor it, make sure it doesn't go up to 1 or 2. If it goes up above 1 or 2, then we might want to get the instrument recalibrated. That should never happen. You should never have UVC on at ground level. Going back out here to the New England area, the northeastern United States, this has been a hot topic the last 24 hours, no pun intended. Massive mysterious blob underneath the eastern U.S. is moving towards New York, puzzling scientists. Article published today, 8/4 of 2025. Thank you, Graham. Really appreciate that. What you got going on, buddy? Plumes have been discovered leaking from the core. I know we were talking about that, Graham. We've been talking about the Earth's core. And is this evidence of the Earth's core doing some kind of maneuver? Graham has been studying the possibility of a temperature change inside the Earth's core. This is called the NAA, the Northern Appalachian Anomaly. And it makes you wonder if this type of activity, this big blob of, gotta be magma, underneath the ground in the New York, New Jersey, Maine, New Hampshire. Polenta, hey Polenta, thank you for the super sticker. Good afternoon, Polenta. Is this what shaped the Appalachians? More than likely it is. Look at the ripples in the ground. Almost has to be, right? The surface obviously cooled. The activity underneath the ground obviously is still in a molten state. So it is going to move. If you just think about it in common sense terms, it has to move, right? The Earth is moving. It's at a 23.6 degree tilt. So if there's anything liquefied in the inner core, it's going to move inside the crust. So to me, it's not a big surprise. Like Graham was talking about, these cavities underneath the crust of the Earth, there's voids underneath the Earth. So they're deep, but those voids are going to fill and shift around with magma. Just underneath the surface of the Earth, not too deep, there's an entire ocean underneath the ocean. An ocean under the ocean, probably full of different life forms. So this massive mysterious blob, that's what this banner implies. You know, there's probably a degree of, or a layer of heat up there in the northeastern United States. At least you would think, maybe, depending on how deep this is. But it's moving very slowly. They've discovered it going all the way up to Greenland and then moving its way down into the northeastern United States very slowly. And when I use the term has Earth on tilt, I didn't mean it literally. I was just speaking figuratively. On tilt as in respect to earthquakes and volcanoes, and now we're seeing storms start to develop. And I'm hearing talk about storms developing out here in the Atlantic Ocean. And I want to touch base on that real quick. But nevertheless, there has been a very massive, mysterious hot blob discovered beneath New York. And it has scientists puzzled right now at the present time. And I think it's caused the earthquakes in northern New Jersey. And we're going to be watching for more earthquakes in that region. moving forward, especially in New York, possibly Long Island. We've seen earthquakes up in Maine here recently. I don't recall ever seeing earthquakes in Maine, but the earthquake, there's been some chatter, not earthquake, hurricane chatter going on here recently. And yes, there's been activity out in the Pacific. That's been going on for 3 weeks. But in the Atlantic, there really can't be too much going on with the presence of all this dry dust, Polenta. It's just not going to happen. But as you can see, there's been a small one kind of wiggle its way out up here off the coast of North Carolina. Well, this one has a name, believe it or not. It's only a tropical storm. Check this out. It's not going to come anywhere near land. And I really hadn't even planned on talking about tropical storms that weren't going to come towards land, but I thought I would go ahead and at least mention it because you guys are probably hearing about this thing. And as I promised, I would keep you guys up to date on hurricanes this year, and I'm going to keep my promise. So looking at the map, for the next 5 days, we still shouldn't see any activity near land. And those are the areas that I'm going to focus on. The Caribbean Sea, or the Gulf. There shouldn't be any activity. Now, in the Atlantic, in the North Atlantic, that's not really going to materialize into anything. Here you can kind of see the disorganized satellite presentation of this storm. It's very windy up there. Notice how it's being pulled to the northeast. You know what's causing that? Wind shear. That's up in the northern Bermuda High. There's a stationary high front called the Bermuda High that's there all the time. And it's got a segment of wind shear that not only moves east to west, but south to north. And you can see it's got this thing all stretched out. Well, that's not going to turn into anything. It can't. It's lopsided. Hurricanes can't form lopsided, Graham. Oh, thank you, Graham. I got the email, buddy. Thank you so much. So this thing here is at I think 50 miles an hour. It's a tropical storm. Let me get my list here. Thank you for the super chat, Graham. And I got your question. If you guys have questions, please send it in the form of a super chat, and I will get your question. I wanted to see my hurricane list. Hold on just a second, guys. I have about 800 windows open here at the same time. So when I have like this many windows open, it can be a little challenging, but I'm up for the challenge. Where's it at? Okay, I'm getting close. I want my hurricane list. It is, there it is. All right. So this one, even though it's not a hurricane, are you serious? I guess we're going to call this one Dexter. I mean, it's next in line. We had Chantal. So the next hurricane, I thought this was names of hurricanes, not tropical storms. But anyway, it says Atlantic hurricane names for 2025, 2026. So I'm assuming that this is being considered a hurricane, even though it's just a tropical storm. So welcome to Dexter. Dexter's not going to come towards land. So you guys along the East Coast, honestly, you shouldn't have anything to worry about because the wind shear is not going to allow this thing to come anywhere near land. There's just no way. It's not possible. That's the nice thing about wind shear and all this dust that you guys see here on this map, which, gotta be honest, it's kind of nasty. Like I said before, I would rather deal with a foot of snow than all this dust, but it does minimize hurricane formation. Even out here in the main development region, this region right here between the western coast of Africa all the way over to the southern Caribbean, this has been named the main development region for hurricanes. The main, where most of the hurricanes form. They're not forming there anymore because of the constant presence of this massive Sahara dust plume that creates very dry air. So we'll see a small tropical storm leak out up here off the coast of North Carolina, and this thing's being pulled to the north where the water's even colder. So as it gets into the colder waters, it's going to get even weaker. But nevertheless, that is Dexter. That would be the fourth named storm of the year. Even though it's just a tropical storm, it's not going to come anywhere towards land. And you can see it right here on this map too, but notice the wind shear pulling it directly up into the northern Atlantic. And the water is much, much cooler up there. I suppose there's an outside chance it could bring some showers to the UK, maybe southern Greenland, possibly Iceland. But even if it did, it wouldn't be that much. It wouldn't be anything other than like a normal rainy day. So nevertheless, Dexter is in the books, number 4 of the year. There you have it. There's your hurricane update. But as far as any hurricanes in the Gulf or the Caribbean Sea, shouldn't be any type of activity in there, guys. I wanted to touch base one more time over here about this wildfire, this very large wildfire that's underway over in Southern California. Just in case anybody's there, I wanted to show you the satellite presentation, and it's right here. When this thing hopped off a few hours ago, I think it was like less than 72 hours ago, you can see the very large smoke plume over here at zoom.earth. Look at that. Yesterday evening, just a towering plume of smoke over here north of Santa Barbara, east of Santa Maria, southwest of Taft, right in that area there, southwest of Bakersfield, east of Lompoc. See if we can zoom in any closer, and I know we can. So we can see more specific communities that are being affected by this large wildfire that at this point in time, they don't know how it started. Kind of a mystery. Let's go over there to Southern California, Lompoc, and just talk about it just for a second, because this is a big deal. This is a populated area right in here. But it's more of a mountainous region, but there's still homes up there. Los Olivos, the Neverland Gates. You can see this is a populated area. There have been evacuations. Right in here, there's some farms. You can see some random houses and farms around here, ranches. There's a farm community right there. This area right here is all in the middle of a wildfire right now that very quickly consumed 65,000 acres. And again, the wildfire up in northern Arizona, you can see the smoke there along the rim of the Grand Canyon. That's consumed a staggering 116,000 acres up there in northern Arizona along the northern rim of the Grand Canyon. So every once in a while, depending on the direction of the wind, obviously, we're getting wildfire smoke down here in the Phoenix area from the Grand Canyon, the Dragon Bravo wildfire. You guys are probably wondering about the picture over here on the homepage of the website, right? Oh, that is a classic. You'll never guess where that came from. Way, way down under, south of Perth, Australia. Yeah, that is one cool photo. I've got a lot of cool photos to share with you guys in this video. I've got some cool triangles to share with you guys. Polenta Forest. Notice one over in the Sacramento area that reminded me of one that was spotted in Branson, Missouri. But I also received some very obvious light beams from the ground, and I wanted to share these with you guys because I shared a video about a week ago, and I want to offer some perspective on how I came up with my how I analyzed the video that was sent in. The lights are coming from the sky in the video that I shared with you guys. And I know a lot of people disagreed, and that's fine. We can disagree on things. That's perfectly fine. I'm okay with that. But here's an example by Greg out of Lake Garda, Italy, which is a beautiful part of the world, by the way. Look at these lights here. He filmed these at 1 o'clock, 1:30 in the morning on the 30th. Notice that you can clearly see the lights are coming up from the ground. No question. They're reacting to the bottom of the clouds, right? But there's a series of beams that are coming up from the ground. They're vertical. No, there's no doubt about it. So when we see those lights in the sky, they're usually from the ground. I agree. Here's example number 2 out of Maryland. Here's where it starts to get interesting. Garnett J, 7/31 of 2025, 24 hours later. She stopped in her tracks. She was in her car, by the way, pulled off to the side of the road and started filming these things. And notice the rogue light right there. This is a light that was in the clouds. There was a bank of clouds over there, and that light was up in the sky. You're going to see lights appear to come out of that thing, whatever it is, and they move across the sky horizontally, not vertically. Again, she was shocked. She was actually speechless. She's like, she's like, no way. I've never seen anything like this. It gets better when I darken it up. There you go. See it moving across the sky horizontally, and they originate from that cloud right there. There's something in the sky. It reminds me of, and you can see other type of smaller lights. There's smaller lights in the background moving around behind the bigger obvious lights. So again, these aren't originating from the ground, guys. You don't see any beams anywhere. This again was like after 1 o'clock in the morning, so people wouldn't be advertising or anything like that at 1:10 in the morning. Most people are in bed. So that right there, I think, was the point of origin of those lights that were spotted in the nighttime sky. And here's the example number 3 that I shared just the other day. And I just offered this for perspective purposes. These cover a vast area, I mean a huge area of the sky, and they're not originating from the ground. So again, normally they do. This is something new, at least to me. I know this looks like a classic rock concert thing, but that's spanning about 25 miles. Are you serious? That could interfere with the flight traffic of airplanes. So that wouldn't be permitted. It's too big. You can have smaller ones, yeah, like we saw over at Lake Garda, that go up and maybe occupy a couple hundred yards. That's cool, right? But when you have something that's occupying miles, that's in flight paths of airplanes, that's not necessarily okay. And they're originating from the sky. So this was a very unusual example of these lights flickering around in the sky. And so was this one here by a young lady stopped along the side of the road. What was her name? Garnett J. out of Maryland. Those two were unique. This one here out of Lake Garda, prime example. They usually come up from the ground. Something was parked up in the sky, sending light beams across the sky. Exactly what? That is wide open to interpretation. Looking at the Schumann resonance, been a little bit of minor activity the last 12 hours. You can see a few spikes eclipsing 20 hertz, 15 hertz at times, but no major spikes like we saw yesterday above 50 hertz. We're going to come back and take a look at the big sunspot that we've been talking about for the last week. The unbelievable gigantic sunspot that changed the way the sun oscillates. It's that big. If it stayed that big, now we all know that sunspots grow and shrink. There's actually a couple of sunspots on the Earth-facing side of the sun that have got the complexity to create a possible X-class solar flare. We're going to look at some crazy skies. I want to talk more about the photo that was sent in from southern Perth, Australia. But first, another example of, I got it on my list right here. I mentioned it at the beginning of the video, blue rain. Are you serious? This is the 4th, maybe 5th time I've received a photo of this phenomena that's showing up at different locations. California, I've seen it now in Alabama, and 2 other locations, at least 2. Oh, the UK. This is a widespread phenomena. Dan Brown. This photo was taken yesterday, 8/3 of 2025. Headland, Alabama. This was a container he has out on his patio after a rainstorm. They got a fair amount of rain here recently. Look at the color of the water. Blue, sky blue. And he was quite taken back by that. He'd never seen it before, so he shared the photos, and I'm sharing them with you guys. Anybody else seen the blue rain phenomena? I got to be honest, I've never seen blue rain. We've seen blue this year in 2025, and we've seen red. And we are looking at one of the most photogenic roll clouds I think I've ever seen. You've got to be kidding me. Chris out of Southern Australia shared this photo with me yesterday. This photo was taken by his mother, by the way, in South Perth, Australia. It looks like a beautiful part of the world. But there's no other clouds in the sky is what makes this, I mean, it's obviously very unique just itself alone. But the setting, there's no other clouds anywhere. And this thing spans, as you're going to see, for miles. Check this out. What a stunning photo. This is photo number 2. She tried to get this whole thing into a panoramic photo, and it almost wouldn't fit in a pano. I mean, it was so big. This is photo number 2. This is a pano. She sent me 2 photos and then the first photo. Look at that. Spanned as far as she could see in both directions. Look at that beautiful coastline down there in Perth, Australia. Beautiful colored waters. How about that? That is impressive. What a photogenic sky. Speaking of photogenic skies, going from southern Perth, Australia to Marco Island, Florida. Here we go. This here looks kind of ominous. This isn't necessarily a roll cloud by any means. These are like hybrid mammatus clouds. Check this out. These, the first batch that she sent in are orange, as you can clearly see. The next batch that she sent in were gold or light orange. And you can see what I mean by hybrid. They're kind of, I don't know, they're a combination of mammatus and cumulus, and there's just a variety of different clouds going on there. But that was another very photogenic sky going from Marco Island to northwest Kansas. Photo sent in by Jill P. out of northwest Kansas. She said this was an amazing sky. She said it felt like the sky was very, very low. And as you can see, I haven't done anything to this photo except zoom in and put her name on it. That was the color of the sky in northwest Kansas. Going from northwest Kansas to Fayetteville, Arkansas. Here we go. More mammatus clouds. Now this, I wouldn't necessarily call these hybrids. Bradley out of Fayetteville, Arkansas. This was all mammatus clouds. The mammatus clouds look like cotton balls up in the sky. Here I inverted the format so you could see the cotton balls hanging around above Fayetteville, Arkansas. More sky phenomena out of Branson, Missouri of the same phenomena. Dan sent these in from Branson, Missouri, or Dane, and these were also highly photogenic, but more in a straight row. Just row after row after row of what looked like cotton balls in the sky. Show Low, Arizona. Here you go, guys. How do we get 90-degree angles in a natural random sky? There you go. And I've seen this photo here, one very similar to it, and this is a new one. But over the years, I've shared photos like this at least 3 times from 3 different locations, 3 different people, 3 different dates. But this feature was in the sky, and it's almost, I'll have to find the photos. In fact, I'm going to see if I can find them. It's the same exact size. And there's the 90 on the left. There's a partial 90 over here on the right. I haven't done anything to this except put Cheyenne's name on it. Now coming up, I do modify the photo just a little bit with regard to the lighting and color. Just trying to pull forward the big rectangle, the very obvious rectangle in the sky, right? You can see it's a little pixelated. It's a give and take situation. You know, sometimes I can pull forward more color, but I'm gonna lose pixelation. Here I kind of lost pixelation. It's not quite as obvious. And you can see this is a completely inverted format. There's your object. How does that form in an all-natural sky where it's windy, there's convection, there's updrafts, and you've got this thing just sitting there all by itself for the most part amongst otherwise natural clouds? It's just bizarre. And again, I've received photos just like this over the course of several years, about 3 times, that same exact thing. Vancouver, British Columbia, James Head sent in this very unique photo. This obviously wasn't from yesterday, but it's of a lunar eclipse, and a green meteorite went by the moon in the vicinity of the moon during the eclipse. That is very cool. And James, I got your video with the airplane. I'm still working on it. I looked at it, and I think it's another airplane in the background. He sent me a video of an airplane that looked like a white object that went above the airplane, and I think it was an airplane that was way off in the distance. But we'll check it out later. Shauna, not sure of the location, but this was a highly unusual feature. It's not necessarily a tornado vortex. I think it's a curved rain shaft that's made contact with the ground. They're normally not curved like that. They're normally just straight down. Laura Bennett out of Florida. Look at this sky. Another ominous looking sky out of Florida. Columbia, South Carolina. Here we go. Stephanie C. caught this lightning strike that made contact with the ground less than 100 yards from her location. Sterling Heights, Michigan. E.O.T. This is the sun behind the wildfire smoke coming down from Canada. We've got wildfires all over the western United States, up in Canada as well. There are several thousand acres in the middle of wildfires right now as I do this video. Another photo of the sun behind the wildfire smoke, and that's the only good thing about the wildfire smoke. It minimizes sunlight, but we need sunlight, obviously. And you can go out and take pictures of the sun just like this, behind the wildfire smoke. So it's gonna minimize things like UV and stuff like that, but it's not making for very good air quality. The air quality is probably above 500. Here's a mystery location sent in by, who sent this in? They didn't even send a name. These photos were sent in just the other day of some highly interesting clouds. Almost look like a little ship sitting up there in the sky, amongst otherwise normal clouds. I get photos like this, not like this specifically. These are kind of rare. I don't get photos like this, but I get sky phenomena photos every day. And I put together little slideshows like this to feature the content that you guys take with your smartphones. And that's the nice thing about having smartphones in today's world. When you see something, you can pull out your smartphone and capture it normally in high definition. These I just kind of switched up the format a little bit just to make the presentation a little more interesting. You can see there was some very interesting clouds in the sky on that day. Thank you whoever shared those very cool photos. Appreciate that. Going from cool clouds to triangles. Check this out, guys. You can't make this stuff up. Remember this? I shared this about 3 days ago. Branson, Missouri, Joshua and Amanda caught this triangle. They were just filming the storm like a lot of people do, looking for, interesting lightning strikes. Sometimes the skies are purple, blue, green. They just happened to capture a black triangle sitting in the sky right in the middle of this thunderstorm. And the clouds happen to be like a light purple color, but it looks like this craft took on a lightning strike or it was discharging some sort of energy. It's difficult to say. It was 50-50 right there. See it? Kind of comes out in like a big loop out in front of the craft. So check this out. That was in Branson, Missouri, just a couple of days ago. Looks like it had a friend, right? Here we go. Going to Sacramento, California. You got all these random clouds up in the sky, right? Polenta Forest, 8/2 of 2025. This is a video in slow motion, but the clouds are moving. There's the sun behind the clouds. And there was a void in the sky, the shape of some sort of a random craft of some sort that was just sitting there. There were clouds moving around this dark feature up in the sky that was at about the, 10 o'clock position. If the sun were a clock, it would have been about the 10 o'clock position. And it stayed there. And the other clouds were moving. So we saw something in the sky above Branson, Missouri during a thunderstorm. This was in the sky above Sacramento, California, just a few days later. So it does look like maybe it had company. There it is, sitting right there, not moving. The clouds are moving very slowly, and that's not even changing shape. So if it was a void, and there obviously was a void in the sky there, the clouds were going around it, like it had a force field around it, going from Sacramento, California, all the way across the country to Massachusetts, Fall River, Massachusetts, Scott Churchill. Here we go. Okay, when he looked up and saw this, let me give you the backstory. He thought he was looking at a drone. But this thing was moving along at a pretty good clip. I mean, it was moving fast. Watch what happens to this thing. And I think you can hear Scott in this video. Check it out. Okay, it stopped, and then watch what happens. Look.
Alicia, that's not a drone.
He just said that's not a drone. He's talking to his wife.
What do you think? Yes, honey.
He said, honey, that's not a drone. And then right here, it kind of stops again. It's like stop, start, and then it falls. Watch. Very rapidly. Right there. You can see it go down behind a house very fast right there.
Oh, fuck.
So he was like, wow, something fell through the sky that appeared to, like, it was almost out of control. Even though it had the ability to stop, it was smoking right there. I don't know drones that behave like that. So this thing, whatever it was falling through the sky above Fall River, Massachusetts. And this video I just got like 2 or 3 days ago. So it's not that old, probably less than 5 days. It's fairly new. Saw that at night. I believe it was around 10 o'clock at night. Something not necessarily fiery. I wouldn't call that fiery because it's not orange, but it did leave a trail of smoky debris behind it as it went down towards the ground right there. Show that once again at a very high rate of speed. Here we go. You can see it turn, then one light turned to two, and then it disappeared behind the house. Very cool photo. And I've received several photos here recently out of Maine and Massachusetts that I don't normally get a lot of activity. I mean, I know there's activity up there, but I don't get a lot of videos from that part of the world, but I have been here recently. Super cool photo over here at the homepage of the website. That is an absolute classic. And again, the blue skies is what gets me. There's no other clouds anywhere with the exception of that big structure in the sky that span for, well, it's impossible to tell by that picture, but it goes way out over the ocean from South Perth, Australia. Quick update on Atlas. Here we go, guys. This is what I shared with you guys yesterday. This is the newest video footage by one of the best astronomers. This man is phenomenal at tracking objects in the nighttime sky. His name's Michael Jaeger. He's from Austria. Here we go. I'm doing some more work on this. I'm going to share it with you guys tomorrow because this is truly fascinating. This is an interstellar object that's in our inner solar system. Right now, it's approaching the vicinity of Mars. It's going to be in the solar system for the next several weeks. It's coming in horizontally, which is unusual for a natural object to be. So that kind of gives you the impression that this thing may not be natural. And then looking at this most recent footage from July 31st of 2025, less than 96 hours ago, this thing is still not showing a cometary tail. The head is not developed. It's not showing like a comet would normally be. You know, you'd see an outgassing creating a coma, and then the tail would be behind it. We're going to zoom in even closer right here. And the darkest format that I put it in should have revealed a tail. You can see the shape of an object moving at that's moving at over 100,000 miles per hour. But here's the update that I wanted to share with you guys. I'm hearing, I got to confirm it, but I think it's credible that this thing is slowing down. So if it's slowing down, how is it slowing down? Unless it's under some sort of intelligent control, right? Okay, here we go. This should have, that's the email. Email's working great again, by the way, guys. So there for a while, the email was not working, but it's working good now. So if you have any photos you want to share, yeah, just send them on in. Here we go. This one here, if this thing's moving as fast as they say, and I have no reason to doubt that, when it was first discovered, it was clocked at 147. I know it's mind-boggling, right? 147,000 miles an hour. But here it is. Where's the tail? There isn't one. There's no tail. There's no coma. How's that a comet? There's no tail whatsoever. There should be. Where it's at right now, I mean, it's in the inner solar system. It's in between the orbit of Jupiter and Mars. So there should be some kind of tail, Graham. Why isn't it speeding up as it approaches the sun? Good question, Graham. Most comets do. They say this is kind of slowing down a little. Most comets, as I've shared many videos of comets that we've seen in the past, they do speed up, Graham, because the pull of the sun pulls them in, and then they sling around the sun and usually go, back on their merry way. This one's not going to go around the sun. It's going to go behind the sun horizontally and then go straight out, like it's on some sort of predetermined flight path. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. And then there it is. So are we being visited by, I don't know. I mean, I'll leave that up to you guys, but that does not look like a comet. Definitely doesn't look like a comet. 7 miles wide. I know that's massive. If that were some sort of a craft, you'd think, well, how could any civilization make something so big that could fly? Well, it would have to be big to travel from one star to another. The amount of power that it would potentially need, unless it got its power from the ether itself, I don't know. But there it is. And again, as I've been saying all along, since this was first discovered, I didn't think it was a comet then. And now that we're getting an even better view of it, I still don't think it's a comet now. But we'll wait and see for even better footage. We should have some better footage, even though that's really good. That guy is one of the best in the world. I really salute him. He is good. Okay, Atlas update. Hurricane, even though it's not a hurricane, Dexter has been officially named. Triangles, light beam, flash. Oh, I haven't done these in a while, so don't go anywhere, guys. Here we go. This is still happening in 2,100 example, 2,100 plus and counting. Dalhart, Texas, Curtis Zambrano, 8/2 of 2025. This is still occurring all around the world. I'm still getting videos on a daily basis. I just share them now about once a week because it's honestly become the new norm. People are seeing these almost every day. I know they're seeing them somewhere every day, somewhere around the world. You know, they're just not getting shared with me. Sheba out of Potomac, Maryland. Here's another example. Multiple lights on the front of this building, at least one, maybe two, that are flickering for unknown reasons. She'd never seen it do this before. And the vast majority of the people that share these videos with me have never seen this type of behavior. It's something altogether new. David G. out of Ashtabula, Ohio, from just a couple of days ago. Rogue and random light there flashing on the front of that building in the early evening hours. It wasn't quite dark yet. Burgess Hill, United Kingdom, Stephen Gray, 8/2 of 2025. This is on the front of a church. He says he's never seen this happen before until just the other day. Example number 4, Arlington, Georgia, Jackie M. Multiple lights around this. This looks like another church as well. The lights around the perimeter, not just one, several. And we've seen entire parking lots here in the past flashing. But this is an example. Those look like the 48-inch fluorescent bulbs flickering around the building. Example number 5. Here we go. Check this out. A gentleman by the name of Kevin. I think this one has narration. I believe it does. Kevin out of small town, Indiana. This has narration. This is not a camera artifact. He saw this in his rear view mirror. Or in his side mirror. That's what compelled him to take the video. And this video does have narration by Kevin. Here we go. 7/28/2025. Thanks for the super chat there. I'll get with you guys here in just a second. Let me get this dialed in because it does have narration. If I can get it to line up. We're going to get it to line up. Watch this. Thank you for the super chat, Jeff Houdini. Appreciate that. Flash update. We just had to reset it. That's all. No big deal. We're going to go back to Indiana. Check this out. Again, he saw this with his own 2 eyes, then recorded it. Here we go.
All right, Mr. MBB 333. Hey, man, just a shout out. We're in small town, Indiana. Broad daylight, about almost 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And this vehicle behind us, his headlights are just going crazy. Hard telling if he even knows they're on or not, but I just thought I'd hit you up and let you know this stuff's still going on. Hey, man, keep up the good work. We love you now. Take it easy.
You know, what a nice guy. Thank you, Kevin. Really appreciate that. And again, he saw this from his mirror, then he recorded it. And what an excellent form of camera work there. Filming that out of the rear view mirror. Again, that's not a camera or a mirror artifact. Those lights were malfunctioning rogue and randomly for unknown reasons. And the people driving the car had no clue. They had no idea that the headlights of their car were probably contaminated with what we're calling dirty E, dirty electricity. It's caused by an EMP. Here's another example of dirty electricity contaminating a car driving down the road by OMI, Virginia, July of 2025. That car right there at the lower left. Now it's in the center. Here I put it slow motion. Another vehicle doing the same thing. This wasn't a mirror artifact or a recording artifact. He saw that. That's what compelled him to record it. The car's lights were malfunctioning. This is still going on all around the world. Caldwell, Idaho, Paula Hammond, 8/1. We're in August of 2025. This has been going on since November. That's why I'm only sharing them now once a week, because it's still happening every single day. I have hundreds and hundreds of videos of this phenomena that are still in a folder. I'm saving them, and I'll share them, here and there, but not every day. Clinton, Tennessee, Denis, 7/31 of 2025. Came up on a car wash. We've seen an entire car wash. This was one bay. An entire car wash. Lights flickering like crazy. Grand Rapids, Michigan. Laura, 7:25. I believe this is 7:25. Check it out. Yep. 7:25. She was standing in the store that she's been in many, many times, and she'd never seen the lights at these registers. And if you notice how they're blinking, they almost look like they're malfunctioning. She'd never seen this before. I mean, that's why she took the recording. They're just kind of flickering randomly. They're not like blinking like they're needing customer service. They're just kind of flickering like they're not working right, you know. You can't make this stuff up. Just pay attention. You'll see. Here's another example of solar lights. Are you serious? Kent K, 726 of 2025. This is his neighbor's house. He goes by their house every day. He lives near these folks. Don't know the location because he didn't share the location, but it's still a great example of how this stuff can get in anything that's a current carrier. Like these solar lights, they have to carry a current in order to light up. Look at them. They're flickering. He's never seen that before. He's stopping in front of his neighbor's house, filming their lights. He would never do that and feel comfortable doing it, but he found this so weird, he just went ahead and did it because the lights are behaving so unusually. And it was all these lights right here on this circuit, whatever circuit they're on their own circuit, but they were all malfunctioning. And again, this was something totally new. So to me, it's another example of dirty electricity, strikes again. Got these here. It's happening all around the world. I've gotten videos from way up in the northern hemisphere all the way down to Tasmania in the southern hemisphere and many, many places in between. Jill out of Iowa. Notice these lights flashing way off in the distance over there. She actually, this is a firefly. She said this was a firefly that she had never seen behave like this in her backyard in Iowa. And usually fireflies, I grew up in the Midwest. I'm familiar with fireflies, and they're normally orange and a lime green. You guys know what I'm talking about, almost a fluorescent green. And they turn on real slow and turn off real slow. They're actually kind of cool. We used to catch them and put them in jars when we were a kid, and then of course let them go. But when you'd look at them in a jelly jar or something like that, they were just kind of fascinating to see. And the glow would be real slow, and then it would turn off, then turn back on real slow, and then turn back off. That one was real rapid, like, okay, you know, she'd never seen that before either. Very, very cool. Thank you guys, Polenta and everybody. Thank you for all your videos and photos. Really do appreciate that. Okay, I've done the Atlas update. I'm just looking at my 30 windows that are open today. Almost 30, not quite. Looking at the GOES X-ray flux over here at the Space Weather Prediction Center. You can see an increase in solar activity, guys. Here we go. The big sunspots turning towards the Earth. Let me turn the email off while we're doing this video. Thank you very much. And thank you for the email, whoever that was. But it creates a big chime whenever I'm trying to record. It's all good. You can see 2M flares in less than 24 hours, right? They were moderate, but they're going to get stronger as we move forward in time. In fact, today there was a slim chance of an X-class solar flare. There's the Schumann resonance. Those of you that are sensitive to the Schumann, not too much going on today, but nevertheless, there's still a little bit of activity. Looking at the Earth-facing side of the sun, these are the two sunspots right there and right here. Those two now have the very complex magnetics to generate an X-class solar flare. And that one right there in the center is definitely Earth-directed. And believe it or not, the one over to the far right, if it were to create an X-class solar flare, this one right here, it would have an Earth-directed component. Believe it or not, the Earth is connected to the western limb of the sun. So if there's any activity over there, Earth would feel it. As of right now, no, there's been an M-class solar flare, but you know, that's not going to be a problem. That's not a big deal. It's the Earth-directed X-class solar flares with everything the Earth is going through right now, with all of the earthquakes. I mean, there's earthquakes everywhere. The ongoing swarm over here in up the coast of Kamchatka, there's been earthquakes today. All the orange ones you see are earthquakes in the last 24 hours. Not slowing down much. I think last night there was a 6.2, right? Yeah, 6.2 late last night. That's an aftershock. That's big. That's a big aftershock. So there's still big aftershocks. That's what's showing up on the seismographs here. In fact, the energy you see here, the dark lines, the dark wavy lines you see on here, that is energy from the 6.2 magnitude earthquake that was super shallow. And the energy, even though it was a 6.2, which is very minimal compared to an 8.8 like we saw the other day, it still showed up on seismographs over in the Solomon Islands. Look here, way up in Norway. You're saying, how did it travel that far? The primary wave, especially of an earthquake above 6, will make its way eventually all around the Earth. Do people feel it? No, not everybody's going to feel it that far away. People close to it, within probably 45, maybe 50 miles, would feel a little bit of something. But the seismographs, this is their job. That's what they do. That's why we're so puzzled by the absence of data over here at the Yellowstone supervolcano caldera. These are the new seismographs that are up over here, and it's something. It's better than nothing, but we're missing the seismograph that was showing all the wild signatures. So maybe it was malfunctioning, maybe not. To me, it was telling a story. But these here are almost too quiet. Look at these. Look at how quiet they are. Are you serious? These are seismographs at a supervolcano caldera? How? Look at them. That's why I didn't like using this venue here, because it doesn't show anything. Come on, there's got to be something going on here. These are way too quiet. Nothing? And two, anything I guess is better than nothing with regard to information. We're always looking for information, right? But these don't show magma intrusion. That's what I liked about the other ones. The other ones showed magma intrusion, they showed earthquakes, and then sometimes nothing at all, and then sometimes some wild activity. These aren't showing really anything, so it's hard to understand what, if anything's going on there, because the seismographs is way too quiet. I don't think they're as sensitive as the other ones. That's what I'm thinking. I think these are toned down a little bit. Here's the seismographs from the USGS across the United States, and you can see the seismograph here in Indian Meadow, Wyoming. Look at this thing. It's like somebody's creating artwork. Zigzagging lines and all that. Are you serious right now? So to me, that's telling a story. We just have to interpret it correctly. I don't know what's going on there. It looks like the ground's moving, right? Or we've got a funky needle. Could be a combination of both. But it's happening in multiple locations. Flag Ranch, you can see the graph at Flag Ranch. Also in Wyoming, showing some of the sloping up and down, up and down. So there very well could be a ground movement at the Yellowstone supervolcano caldera. Here's the 6.2 showing up in Maine, obviously in Wyoming, New Hampshire, all the way over to the east coast of the United States, where there's a hot pocket underneath the northeastern United States. This one here's out of Massachusetts. The 6.2 showed up in Massachusetts. At least the primary wave. People did not feel it in Massachusetts. No way. What's going on here? This is clearly a malfunction, right? Look at that. You have one, I don't know what that's not even an earthquake. And that lasted almost 5 minutes? What is that? Huh. And that's in Blacksburg, Virginia. That is wild. Don't know, guys. And it could be a faulty machine. These things are machines. Machines can and will break. But these are pretty secure. I mean, they're in a container locked with a lid in the ground. People can't go up and fool with them. So I don't know, guys. The seismograph situation up at Yellowstone, to me, it looks like it just kind of went offline. Not necessarily offline, but these seismographs here don't show hardly any information. Looking at this one here, this is showing us our daily dose of Sahara sand that we get all summer long. It's just nasty. That's the color form. Here's the form on the map over here at Null School. There's the plume, and it's not slowing down any. When the sun reaches its peak at 23.6, June 22nd, it really gets stirred up. And it'll stay like this all summer long. And you can see over here the little bitty tropical cyclone that we're calling tropical storm. This is Dexter right here. You can see it at Null School. It does have a center of rotation. So yeah, it qualifies for a tropical storm, sure. It's not a hurricane. I thought we were only naming hurricanes. But anyway, you can see this is going to go all the way up here into the North Atlantic. You can see a big center of rotation up there. But that's what's pulling it up there. That right there. That's pulling that north. So that's not going to be an issue. It could bring some rain to Scotland, Ireland, maybe the UK. But it's going to be a while. But that right there is what's pulling that north. So it's not going to affect land. Speaking of land, at the top of mountRainier, are you serious? Up to 1,261 earthquakes, recorded earthquakes at the top of mountRainier in the last 30 days, or is it 28? How are they computing these last 30 days of earthquake activity at the top of mountRainier? So guys, there's earthquake activity going on all around the earth, on top of volcanoes, massive swarms going on over in the Western Pacific, earthquakes in northern New Jersey, Earthquakes in New Brunswick, Canada? Are you serious? Things are just getting started. I think this is a precursor to possibly something bigger on the horizon. Earthquakes up here in Alaska have always been a thing. I think these are probably still aftershocks from the second largest earthquake ever recorded up here off the coast of Alaska. I believe it was a 9.5 or 9.6 that created a towering tsunami many years ago. But there's always been earthquakes here ever since I've been following earthquakes for nearly 20 years. But you can see earthquakes across the central United States, Oklahoma getting active again. We've been seeing earthquakes in Kansas, Nebraska, South Carolina, New Jersey, of all places, which is not known for its earthquakes, by the way, and even up in New Brunswick. So guys, these are things that we're watching very closely, watching the hurricane scene. And once again, if you're living along the East Coast, there shouldn't be any type of hurricane, at least hurricane activity. Will you see some rain here in the coming days? Yes, there's a chance of rain, but we've all dealt with rain. It's just rain, right? There could be some rain in the Carolinas in the next 3 or 4 days. There could be a system try to form out here in the Western Pacific, way over here off the coast of Africa. But if it does, it's not going to last very long, simply because of the very dry and windy environment. You can see how windy, that's just making sure that storm there, and it is a little storm, it has a center of rotation, but it's going to be pulled up into the North Atlantic. The storm that's possibly going to brew out here in the main development region probably won't even develop because it's just too dry. But anyway, we keep an eye on that every day, and I will keep you guys updated on any hurricane activity that I see within 5 days. I do 5-day forecast talking about what we got going on here. I guess I got my steps while I'm sat in my chair. Okay, thanks. I'll keep you guys updated. So make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Click the little red button. And I appreciate everybody stopping by today. And I appreciate all the photos and videos that you guys send in. It makes it fun. You guys are watching the Earth and sharing it with me every day. That's the first thing I do every morning. If you guys have something to share in the Dropbox, come over here to the homepage of the website where it says have a large video. I'll click on it, show you what this is. It's the Dropbox. You can drag and drop videos and photos in here, one or the other or both. Put your name, if you can, at the top where there's a number. Just highlight it in blue and put your name, date, and location, and then just send it. And that's the first thing I do every morning is I check the Dropbox, and then I go into the email. And I do answer the email. The responses you get from the email are from me. I do that every morning. And I usually get through all of them. Some days it's busier than others, so it just depends on the day. Let's look at the power outage situation here real quick. And the name of the website is MrMBB333.com. Very simple. Looking at 13,000 customers off the grid in Texas, 13,300, 8,000 in Ohio, 4,000 in South Carolina, 4,000 in Georgia. Quite possibly from inclement weather. Not quite sure what's going on there, but more than likely, that is the situation. Coolest photo ever, at least for today. This photo here sent in by Chris out of Australia of the incredible roll cloud. How about that? With no other clouds in the sky. That is one cool photo. All right, guys, that is all I got for today. Again, if you have anything to share, you can send it to reports at MrMBB333.com or come to the Dropbox over here at the homepage of the website. Thanks for watching. Thanks, everybody, for stopping in today. And thank you, everybody, for the super chats, super stickers, and the new Star family members. There were some people that specifically asked for the link. So that's why I provided the link in the description box. Thank you, Graham, for all your input. Always appreciate it. And I will check your email again, Graham. Thank you so much. Thanks for watching. Have a super day and be safe out there.